Okay, today we're going to talk about graphing equations of lines, in particular the form y equals mx plus b that you might remember as slope-intercept. The number, whether integer or fraction, in front of the x is the slope, represented by the letter lowercase m, and the y-intercept is b. So let's look at a few examples. The easiest way to graph something is if it is in this form, y equals mx plus b. Again, b is the y-intercept and m is the slope. So here's an example. Y equals 2/3 x minus 3. In this case, the y-intercept is -3 because it's minus 3. And the number in front of the x is 2/3. This is the slope. So let's go ahead and draw our x and y axis on this and graph this. Okay, we said the y-intercept is -3, so what we will do is we'll count down on the y-axis 1, 2, 3 in the minus or negative direction and put a mark there. Okay, the slope is 2/3, and as we talked about slope, remember it's change in y over change in x. So the top number will be your up and down change, the bottom number will be your left and right change. In this case, the top number is +2, so we're going to count up 2. The bottom number is +3, so then we'll go right 3. Up 1, 2, right 3, and put a mark there. And I'm going to repeat from that point just to help me draw the line. 1, 2, up, 1, 2, 3, right again. Put a point. Draw a line through the points and you are done. You have drawn the line represented by the equation y equals 2/3 x minus 3. Okay, let's try another one. We have a little reminder here again that this is your y-intercept and this is your slope. Now we have an example that says y equals -2x plus 5. Well, the y-intercept's 5 and the slope is -2. What's a little bit different here is with the slope of -2, how do we count off -2? Well, as noted here, -2 is the same as -2/1. So let's draw our x and y axis. So we're going to start at where y is +5. That's our y-intercept. Start right there and mark a point. Now what we set up here is -2 is the same as -2/1. So negative means go down and positive means go right. So what we're going to do here, starting back at this point, our y-intercept of 5 is count down to right 1. And I'll repeat that again, down to right 1. And just draw a line through those points. And you have graphed the line y equals -2x plus 5. Now, an equation will not always be in y equals mx plus b form, so you have to convert it by getting y by itself in the equation. The following equations are in what we call standard form, and we're going to change them to our slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, to make it easier to graph. Well, as we learned in a previous section, we want to get y by itself. We called it isolating y or solving for y. To get y by itself, we'll start by subtracting 6x. We now have 2y equals negative 6x plus 12. We're close. We want y equals, we have 2y equals, so we just have to eliminate the 2, so we'll divide by 2. And if you divide that by 2, you must also divide every other term by 2. Okay, y is now by itself. Negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. And 12 divided by 2 is 6. Now we want to graph this just like we did in our previous examples. Okay, our y-intercept is positive 6. So we'll count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and put a mark to start there. As we learned from the other problem, negative 3 is the same as negative 3 over 1. So this would mean go down 3 and write 1. And to help you draw the line, repeat it. Down 3, write 1. Now, something to note here. You can say, well, negative 3 is negative 3 over 1, or you could also make it 3 over negative 1. If you have one negative, in either case, either one of these is equal to negative 3. This will still fall in the same line. This will tell you to go up 3 because it's positive, and then left 1 because it's negative. So if I had started at this point and went up 3, left 1, which is what positive 3 over negative 1 means, it still falls on the same line. It's just a question of whether you want to work left to right or right to left. In most cases you want to work left or right, so I typically assign the negative to the top. If we just now draw a line through these points, you have graphed the line of this equation, 6x plus 2y equals 12, which we converted to y equals negative 3x plus 6. They're the same, but in different forms. We changed it from this form to this form simply to make it easier to graph. Okay, moving on to the next one. Again, we want to get y by itself to get it into slope-intercept form. So we'll start by subtracting x. We now have 4y equals negative x plus 8. To get y by itself, divide by 4. And again, you have to divide each term by 4. So now you have y equals negative x over 4 plus 2. Now what this notes over here is, okay, how the heck are we going to count off the slope? We always said it's the number in front of x. Well, realize that negative x over 4 is the same as negative 1/4 x. So we can rewrite this equation as y equals negative 1/4 x plus 2. And we'll go ahead and graph this. Start at positive 2, put a mark. Then it says go down 1, because we're saying this is negative 1 over 4. Down 1, right 4. And just to help me draw the line, I'll go down 1, right 4 again. And again, if we assigned the negative to the bottom instead of the top, well, then we simply would have went up 1 and left 4, which is still the same line. Draw a line through it, and you're done. Okay, so just remember the easiest way to graph is to put it into slope-intercept form, get y by itself. Remember that if you have an integer, put it over 1 to help you count off the slope, just like -3 was -3 over 1. Okay, that's it for graphing in slope-intercept form.